Welcome back. This is exciting. The historic Artemis II mission is set to loop around the moon later tonight. So overnight, the Orion spacecraft entered what's called the lunar sphere of influence. Sounds pretty interesting. Yep. So that means the gravitational pull of the moon is actually stronger than the pull of the Earth. Just last night, the crew snapped this photo of the moon as they then drew closer. And since the far side of the moon was too dark to see in previous missions, the Artemis II crew is now tasked with taking thousands of photos as they wrap around the far side fully today. And CBS News senior national correspondent Mark Strassmann joins us now. He's at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. What a week to be there, Mark. What's the timeline for today's loop around?
Well, hey, Janelle, it's going to be an extremely lively, even historic day. So early afternoon, the crew and the capsule will move deeper from Earth than any time before in space history. I mean, think about that. They'll be about 252,000 miles from Earth, breaking the record by about 4,000 miles. So that's going to be a milestone, certainly for NASA, in this new lunar phase of exploration. And then the other interesting thing will come early this evening when the crew loops behind the far side of the moon. They're going to be spending a couple of hours taking pictures of the various sections of the lunar landscape that are both illuminated and of interest to NASA scientists. And then at one point, because there is no line of sight at that point with Earth, communications stop, and there's going to be a 40 minutes of radio silence. And according to NASA, nobody's unnerved by that, even though they can't talk to the crew. And according to the crew, they're not unnerved by it either. It's just they expect it, they know what's going to happen, and they'll just wait till they get on the other side when line of sight is reestablished and they're able to talk to Houston again. So it's going to be a very memorable day for everybody involved.
And Mark, you got an opportunity to speak to the crew this weekend. What did they tell you?
Yeah, I mean, think about that, Vladimir. How crazy is this? I mean, I'm sitting in this chair at Johnson Space Center in our CBS Space Bureau, and I'm talking to people who are 180,000 miles away in space. I mean, that is a long-distance record for me. So cool. I asked them about what we're all interested in, which is, the moon keeps getting bigger for them, and the Earth behind them keeps getting smaller. And so I asked them about their changing perspective of both. We've all watched a waxing moon from Earth. What's it like to watch the moon grow from space?
We were catching glimpses of the far side, the side that you can never see from Earth. It just looked different out the window, and that is wild. It just really put our place in the universe in perspective.
You're on a spaceship called Earth that was created to give us a place to live in the universe. Trust me, you are special. In all of this emptiness, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing, and that we got to get through this together.
Okay.
I mean, for NASA, this mission is all about the science, but it's clear to me that as this crew of 4 has gotten closer to the moon, this has also been a deeply moving personal experience for them as well.
Very cool. Mark Strassmann, thank you.
All right, for more on how the Artemis II would be preparing for the lunar flyby, let's go to Kris Van Cleave. He's inside the Orion mission simulator at the Johnson Space Center in Houston.
I'm here with NASA astronaut Randy Bresnik. This is one of those milestone moments people have been waiting for, the lunar flyby. What is the crew doing to get ready for this?
The crew's been waiting for this their whole lives, and humanity's been waiting for 54 years. And so they have got the vehicle in a condition where they've probably dimmed the lights inside. They've got their lunar maps out so they can make sure they're identifying the terrain features that they've been trained to do. They've got their cameras all ready to go. There's going to be video taken, there's going to be still shots taken, but it's the things that they see and choose to shoot with their camera. Those are the things that will be most interesting to us when they come back.
And that's the camera they'll be using.
It's the same, basic Nikon that we have on the International Space Station. It's very well proven in the space environment. We've got a zoom lens on so they can actually, focus on big and small things. When they take pictures, they'll want to stabilize themselves, and a lot of times because you're floating in space, you kind of put your hand on the window, and then use that to stabilize the camera when you're taking pictures. And so the cameras are really good and have fast shutter speeds and really high ISO for the pictures, and so we really don't have a problem with camera jitter or floating around and messing up the pictures and blurring them because of the quality of our cameras.
What's the shot you're hoping for?
The shot that I hope that we all get to see is when they come out of the 45 minutes of blackout and they're able to send down a first shot. It's Earthrise, but it's not Bill Anders' Apollo 8 Earthrise. It's the Artemis generation's Earthrise. Take by one of our crew members.
One of those images that lasts, this becomes timeless.
That I hope inspires this generation of people to great things beyond Earth.
A huge moment. Back to you.
All right, Kris, thank you very much. Let's bring in Linda Godwin. She's a retired NASA astronaut and professor emeritus at the University of Missouri. So, Linda, what's your initial reaction to what the Artemis II crew is set to do today, and how cool is it that they are where they are at a position where the Earth's gravitational pull no longer has an effect on the capsule, that the gravitational pull of the moon is what they are feeling now?
Oh, it's just so exciting. I mean, I've watched all this coverage. I have to say I've been a little envious, but what a great crew NASA picked for this flight. They have just been awesome when they've tried, they communicate to us how they feel, what it looks like. And I am so excited to watch the coverage this afternoon as they go around the backside.
Linda, I want to ask about the communication strategy here and how this works and how this feels. We heard Mark talk about that window of time when there isn't any communication. In your experience, have comms ever gone down? And I mean, how are astronauts sort of trained to handle those moments?
Yeah, I mean, this is anticipated. So, I think maybe they'll be happy to be silent for a while and just, do their work and what they're. And we often have, loss of signal periods, even in low Earth orbit for short times. And we used to have even longer ones before we had the satellite network. So the crew is very well trained to continue working, and they've got it well laid out. They've trained for years for this.
So as we reach this critical point in the mission, we're hearing from NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman about the objectives. I want to play a little bit of what he had to say.
The primary objective right now for this phase of the mission is continuing to gather data from the ECLSS system, the life support system on the Orion spacecraft. This is the first time we've ever had humans on board the Orion spacecraft. We want to gather as much data as we possibly can for that. Of course, there's various science experiments, there's lunar observations, but learning as much as we can about Orion is critically important because Artemis II is a year away. That's where we're going to test the same spacecraft with our lunar landers, followed up in 2028 by Artemis IV, where we're going to use this spacecraft, transfer crew to the landers, and put American astronauts back on the surface of the moon.
You've flown several different space shuttles. What's it like learning about each new rocket? And I think for a lot of people, they're going to wonder, we went to the moon several times before, back in the, obviously, Apollo 11, all the way up to 1972. We know how to get there. So why is it going to take 4 years to Artemis IV from where we are today to get back on the moon?
Well, first of all, crews train extensively for whatever rocket they're going to launch on, whatever our spacecrafts are going to be in, just like these folks have for several years. But there's still work to do to get to the lunar landing part. We're going to have to, we've got some lunar landing contracts being let. A couple of countries working on these lunar landers. They're going to have to fly first and be checked out. It just takes time to redevelop the hardware, and we're going back in a slightly different way with a larger crew, a different capsule, a different landing destination, and this is still complicated to do.
It's very fascinating, very exciting. Linda Godwin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.